Hey guys, it's Sarah from the Dainty Pear, and we're having an anxiety chat today. This one really is just a chat. I'm sitting down, I don't have any notes, I don't have an agenda, but I was talking to somebody today, one of you amazing friends that I've met here online, and we were talking about anxiety. So I wanted to answer this because it's actually something that's come up a lot. We were talking about some things that I've done to help my anxiety recently, and she just mentioned, I'm actually really surprised to know that you have anxiety. I'm glad you're talking about it, but you seem so this and this, and it just doesn't seem like you have anxiety at all. And while I totally take that as a compliment because I really do try and push past a lot of my anxiety, it doesn't mean that it's not there. And I wanted to just be super open and vulnerable about that with you. And I think it's important that we do not assume that anxiety has a face or a certain look to it. There's no one face or look of what anxiety looks like. Anxiety looks like me. It might look like you. It might look like Joe down the street. It's like, it's easy to stereotype people, especially in mental health arenas, into categories. And I think that we should probably stop doing that, like a long time ago. Another common thing that I've heard a lot is, you don't look like someone who has anxiety. And again, I totally take that as a compliment because I try and do things that scare me, that push me out of my comfort zone. But you have to understand that I've dealt with anxiety for a really, really long time. I had my first anxiety attack, a panic attack, in first grade, and I remember it very clearly. I've gone into details in other videos and on podcasts before, but I think it's important to know that it's just kind of my normal now. And that doesn't mean that I'm not worrying all day, every day, 24 hours a day. And it's not even just a thing where I'm like, oh, I need to think positive thoughts, because I do think positive thoughts. But simultaneously, maybe because I'm a woman and can think about 400,000 things at once, I'm also worried about a lot of things, and I can get those really scary physical symptoms as well. Another thing I think is important to note is that anybody online shows you the tiniest snippet of their day. And while I totally think that you can capture your personality and general sense of self and as a person in stories or in posts or reels or whatever, I do. I think that most of you probably know me pretty well because I am very, very open about a lot of things, and it's just an avenue where I get to communicate with you and have fun with you guys. But that's literally maybe 5 minutes of my entire day. I'm not showing you when I'm washing my hands for the 1000th time because I've had a bad bout of OCD come up, or I'm not showing when I'm pacing back and forth, checking the lock a certain amount of times because I've just had, again, a bad bout of OCD. And even though it is a constant 24/7 thing that I have just struggled with, there have been varying degrees of it. So sometimes it's been lighter, sometimes it's been really severe, to the point where it's been really discouraging and scary, and I've ended up in the hospital. Like, it's not fun. So I just really, really want you guys to know that I see you, those of you who are going through something like that. And just because you're not necessarily seeing the behind the scenes, even though I try really, really hard to be so open with you guys, there's just times when I have a really bad week of anxiety and I'm just really not online. So you're really seeing what people are choosing to share. And not that I'm necessarily trying to hide when I'm going through that, I'm just not online. And it's just not the top of my mind or list or anything like that. So I hope that that's helpful. I just really want you to feel seen and heard. And if you're going through it, like this friend online that I was talking to, I was telling her that anxiety is newer for her, and I was telling her that this has been my normal for a really long time, and I'm just kind of used to it, as terrible as that sounds. I'm used to the discomfort, I'm used to the scary, intrusive thoughts, I'm used to the ruminating, I'm used to a lot of these things. Even though I have better tools to help me with them now, it's still happening all the time. And I felt like with her having had it as a newer thing, that's really scary. I've had a long time to become familiar with symptoms, and even though it totally stinks, I'm kind of used to it. Just like during pregnancy, I was puking every single day the entire time that I was pregnant. I maybe had 1 or 2 days that I didn't throw up all throughout the day until delivery day. And it's something that people would be like, that can't be true. You wouldn't be functioning. Yeah, it's true. You just get used to it. And I was able to function and be on for a few minutes at a time. And then I was back to the toilet. I was back to laying on the couch or being lightheaded or seeing stars because I was so dehydrated. I was in the hospital multiple times a week getting IV therapy. So yeah, I didn't necessarily show all the behind the scenes because I didn't want to complain. I wasn't looking for sympathy. I was just kind of getting through it in my own way. And the same thing goes for anxiety. I've had a long time to kind of have it be my normal. And so my heart really goes out to you who have felt this, especially during this past year or two of unrest and quarantine and all the crazy things that have been going on. It's so scary. So I want you to know that there is somebody out there who understands, even if it's just online. Little old me, you're not alone. You are absolutely not alone. There are so many people throughout the world that go through this and go through it alone, and it's such a bummer. So I hope you can feel comfortable here and we can create that community here where we can open up. I've slowly opened up more and more over time about certain symptoms that I've had or thoughts or things like that. And I hope that that's helpful to you. It's really kind and validating for me when you guys do say that it is helpful, because it is a lot. It's a lot to talk about. It can be embarrassing. In fact, I had my probably most embarrassing moment that was very public with anxiety just a few weeks ago. I'm not even quite ready to talk about it yet. It was that embarrassing and I'm just working through it. I'll tell you guys sometime. It's one of those things that you look back on and you're like, why? So yes, I am going through this with you all the time, pretty much 24/7. And I just wanted to tell you that. And I wanted to tell you that I know it's more than just think positively. Read your Bible and you'll feel better. Like, those things can help, but sometimes there really just is an internal thing that needs to be addressed. And so it is a process. It's not like an overnight, oh, I'm doing this and I feel better, whether it's medication or therapy or whatever. It's not always an overnight fix. So I wanted to just tell you guys that, and I hope that you can come here and feel part of something, part of a community that understands, and that is my goal of being online. There have been so many times where I'm like, I'm just gonna leave online. I'm just gonna delete it all, be offline, but there's always something that pulls me back. It's always the people and the community that we've built here, because you guys are amazing. Oh shoot, side note, I forgot to say, I think it's important too, just like anxiety doesn't have a face, it's important to remember that you are not your anxiety. I am not my anxiety. I am Sarah. I am my own person, separate from my anxiety. My anxiety does unfortunately influence me, and it is kind of a part of me, but it is not me. I am separate from my anxiety. It's just something that I deal with. And I have talked about that before in videos and podcasts too, but I don't want you to feel an identity crisis because you have anxiety. You can still be funny and be happy and positive and be yourself and still have anxiety. Or you might be depressed and it might be causing you some depression, and sometimes that's a byproduct of it, but it is not you. And I think it's important to just have that as a reminder for you, for me, for us, and I hope that's helpful. That's all for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this anxiety chat. If one can enjoy an anxiety chat. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you later.